Welcome. Today we're going to build a bridge between two worlds that seem completely different. On one side, you have the intricate, almost mechanical blueprint of the human brain, and on the other, the rich symbolic canvas of our psyche. We're going to see how the language of neuroscience and the language of art can actually tell the exact same story of human transformation. And it all really kicks off with this one central question. How can a painting literally change your brain? Now, I don't mean that as some kind of metaphor. I mean it for real. How can the act of making and looking at art physically change the neural pathways that define who you are? That's the mystery we're going to unpack. So, to get our answer, we've got to build that bridge. We're going to connect a super scientific world of our brain's wiring with the deeply personal, creative world of art. Let's see exactly where this blueprint meets the canvas. Okay, so on one side of our bridge, we got the blueprint. This is the brain's mechanics. Think of it as the hardware. It's all about predictive models and relational circuits that are humming away under the surface. Then on the other side, we have the canvas. This is the world of our psyche, right? Our subjective experience, all the symbols, feelings, and stories we pour out through art. They seem like a miles apart, don't they? But you're about to see they're speaking the exact same language. But before we can start building, we need to really understand the foundation on one of those shores. So first, we're going to get a handle on the neuroscience side of things. And it all starts with a pretty revolutionary idea about how your brain actually works. For the longest time, we kind of thought the brain was like a passive camera, just taking in the world around it. Turns out that's totally wrong. The brain is an active predictor. It's not just waiting for information to come in. It is constantly, and I mean constantly, making its best guess about what's going to happen next based on every single thing you've ever experienced. And this right here shows how that process works. It's a nonstop loop. Your brain makes a top-down prediction from its existing models, what it thinks should be happening. Then it compares that prediction to the bottom-up info coming from your senses, what's actually happening. If there's a mismatch, a prediction error, the brain has a really important choice. It can try to change the world to make it fit the prediction, or it can do something way more profound. It can update its own internal model. And that last step, that's the biological basis for all learning and all change. And these predictions aren't just abstract ideas floating around in your head. They are deeply embodied. Your mind is not separate from your body, not at all. You know that gut feeling you get sometimes? That's literally your brain's prediction engine running on data from inside your body. Our most basic physical experiences are the very foundation for our most abstract creative thoughts. And finally, our brains are fundamentally relational. We are just wired to connect with each other. And we do it through three incredible systems. First, we've got mirror systems that let us simulate and, in a way, literally feel what other people are feeling. Then there are mentalizing networks that help us guess what someone else might be thinking. And then, get this, in moments of real connection, our brain activity can actually synchronize with another person's. It's a process called brain-to-brain coupling. Wild, right? Okay, so that's the blueprint, a predicting, embodied, relational brain. Pretty cool stuff. Now, let's head over to the other side of the bridge. Let's leave those abstract diagrams behind and explore the canvas through the real story of one person's journey of drawing her dreams. Just look at this contrast for a second. On the left, you've got this clean, clinical diagram of the relational brain showing how we're built to connect. And then on the right, you have this raw, deeply emotional piece of art that just screams isolation. This is where the theory becomes real. So here's the really crucial point. This painting, it's not just a sad picture. In the language of neuroscience, this is a perfect visual printout of what they call a maladaptive internal model. It's basically a harmful prediction engine. It was built from past experiences, and now it's constantly predicting that the world is a restrictive, anxious, and confining place. So how in the world do you change a prediction like that? Well, in this case, it was a three-step process. First came the dreaming, where new images just started showing up. Then came the art making, a physical act of bringing those dream images into the real world. And finally, dialoguing, exploring what these new images actually meant with a therapist. And this is BIFT. This is the moment we've been waiting for. We're finally crossing the bridge. We're going to explicitly connect the neuroscience how to the art therapy what. We are about to see exactly how this three-step process hijacks the brain's own predictive machinery to rewire itself from the inside out. Remember active inference, that idea that the brain acts on the world to make it match its predictions? Well, it turns out the creative process is an incredibly powerful form of active inference. When you draw or paint something from your mind, you're physically putting one of your brain's predictions out into the world, where you can see it, mess with it, and most importantly, be surprised by it. And this illustrates that cycle perfectly. The dream image, that's the brain's prediction. The physical act of painting, that's the action. But here's where the magic happens. The finished painting is never exactly like the dream. Unexpected details pop up, colors shift. This creates that crucial prediction error, that jolt of surprise that forces the brain to snap to attention and maybe, just maybe, update its old models. Now, this kind of change doesn't happen in a vacuum. That dialoguing process lights up our deeply social relational brain. In the safety of that therapeutic relationship, the therapist's mirror systems help them actually feel the client's experience. And together, they use their mentalizing networks to look at the art and co-create a brand new shared story about what it all means. There's actually a name for the neurological mechanism behind all this change: reconsolidation. See, when we remember something, an old memory, an old belief, it becomes temporarily flexible, open to being changed. And if you introduce the surprise of a new piece of art and that new meaning from therapy during that little window, you can literally rewrite the old story. You reconsolidate the memory with new, better information. And here is the stunning result of that reconsolidation. Just look at his later artwork. The restricted house is gone, and in its place is this meeting of opposites: the soft, feminine field and the hard, masculine stone of the bridge. This represents a new integrated story of the self, one that accepts both strength and vulnerability. This is the visual proof of an updated internal model. So, we've made it. We've crossed the bridge, and it's worth pausing for a second to just take in the view from the middle. Because when you're standing here, you realize something absolutely profound about the blueprint and the canvas. This is the big aha moment. See how it all clicks together? The two languages are describing the exact same reality. Our embodied brain, that's what lets us tap into our dreams and those gut feelings. Our predictive brain, that's the engine that makes creating art a powerful act of self-discovery. And our relational brain, that's what makes a conversation with another person a space where we can create brand new meaning together. The implications here aren't just huge. This shows that creative therapies aren't just a nice way to express your feelings. They are tools for neuroplasticity. The act of creating gives you agency. It feeds your brain new sensory data to challenge old predictions, and it creates the perfect conditions to reconsolidate old memories and literally, physically reshape your brain. And so, in the end, we find that understanding the intricate mechanics of the predictive brain doesn't take away the mystery of transformation. No, it actually reveals the profound elegance of the whole system. It shows us that searching for meaning through art isn't some departure from our biology. It's its most sophisticated expression. The blueprint and the canvas are and always have been one and the same. So I'll leave you with one final thought to take away. If your art, your creativity, your dreams, if they're a direct line to the predictive models that are running your life, what could your canvas reveal about your blueprint?